Hi, everybody. I have a very special guest today. I mean, very special. She is a daytime Emmy winner. She is a daytime icon. She is a soap and fashion maven legend, and she is my dear friend. Please welcome Linda Dano. Linda,
That was some intro. Thank you.
and just to see you again, we were just saying, I haven't seen you in so long. It's just wonderful to see you.
I know, me too. That's how I felt. Michael, we should tell everyone. We spoke last night at length. We were on the phone for over an hour
We got to catch up.
to catch up a little. It's been that long, right? And we
It,
talked about Frank, of course. And
we talked about her dear Frank husband, and I just remembered the love he had for Linda, and it was just, I always have it in my mind as a great relationship to kind of aspire to if you have a partner.
yeah, yeah.
you know
And
um,
after Frankie died, so many people were so worried about me, and rightfully so, and wanted me desperately to meet another man and have a life. And you can't live without a man, and especially my Italian sister-in-laws. And I said, you know what? You can't do that. You can't ask me to sit across the table to a lovely man who's trying his hardest to be charming and talkative and interested and all of those things. And all I'm thinking about is Frank. And I said, I can't do it to another person, and I wouldn't want it done to me. So I'm very happy that I have been able to accept finally that he has gone on to heaven, and that one day I will be there with him, and that I don't need someone new or else, because I had the great love of my life, and that's really all that matters to me.
and you had the great love of your life. Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
did. I really
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure he's just beaming right now hearing
he
it.
is beaming. I think he's happy that we're talking.
I
So, because the thing I was saying to Linda is, I just remember Frank was always so happy, so proud of Linda, like winning the Emmy or getting to do a show or doing this or watching her do her thing on a red carpet. Like, he was just so proud, and he always lit up. And I just never, that to me was like unselfish, true, beautiful love. And that's what I remember about your Frank.
remember that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard to live without once you've had it.
Of course, as soap fans are getting to see you on Days of Our Lives, of all things. I bet you never thought in your career you would go to Days of Our Lives, or did you at some point?
No, it's so interesting. When I had to leave my family at another world, when we all had to say goodbye to each other, and I got a call from ABC to go over and do not just One Life, but all of their shows. And it was so overwhelming and very exciting, and at the same time, very, very sad, because I had just left a family of 18 years. And I don't do that very easily. And consequently, I have spent the last ever how many years it's been since Another World has been off the air, connecting with my friends at Another World. We're all so close. We have dinners, we have parties, we have get togethers, we talk on the phone all the time. And when I told them I was going over to Days of Our Lives, they were beyond ecstatic about it. And I have also heard from so many Another World fans, and their acceptance of this, their joy that I'm going to be back on television. I can't tell you how much that means to me. And that they're not mad at me that I have, left my family of Another World and gone somewhere else. Oh my God. But no, they're generous beyond, but then they always oh.
Yeah, the fans were so excited when it was announced that you were coming to Days. They're like, Linda Dano, you still get that. I think that's such a tribute to you, that you still get that. Oh my God, it's Linda Dano. They're so excited just to see you,
That
just
actually
to
makes
see
me
you.
cry. It makes me cry when you say
Yeah.
that, because I do feel that way. I feel very honored. I don't get it, but my God, I'm beyond flattered. And I've always believed as a person, not an actor, not a wife, not a friend, but as a person, I have always believed the important thing in life, this life that we all live, is filled with kindness and consideration and joy and love. And I have had such a life filled with that. And the fact that the men and women who watch me and say those things to me on that little thing we call the telephone, and mean it and take the time to say it, is just, it's overwhelming to me. I'm stunned by it. I never expect it. And when it happens, it's just, I can't tell you how fulfilled it makes me as a person, not an actor. I'm hoping when they see me on days that they don't turn on me. I'm not Felicia, and all of them have wished me well and go get it, girl. And it's beyond charming, Michael. It really is.
So, so kind of, how did it all come about? Because obviously, you knew that Louise played Vivian, Louise Sorel was, and then Robin Strasser came and played her for a bit. And now you're playing it. So did you have trepidation about stepping into the role? How did you feel about, I'm going to take on this role?
Yeah, no, actually, I didn't. And I'll tell you why. I kind of want to feel that as an actor, I can take a part and really, truly try and make it my own. I don't want to copy someone, even though the fans of Days maybe would like me to do that because they're so in love with Louise. And that's so dear for her. But I never felt that way. After I talked to Ron, the writer, who went over the whole plot and we talked about it for quite a long time. And he said to me openly, listen, we want you to bring whatever you want to this part. And I took that literally. So as much as I gave the flavor, I hope the fans will see that from Days. The quality of Vivian, I also added a little bit of Linda Dano in this. Yeah.
Yeah. So the setup, that everybody knows is that she concocted this plan to take Eli and Lonnie's babies. She stole the babies. And does she think in her head is she thinking she wants to raise these two children? Like, yes. What's going on?
Let me try to explain. I didn't actually physically steal them. I didn't know that Yvonne had now taken it upon himself to steal them, to give me a life, to make me happy. I was so unhappy. And of course, the babies that he stole, part of his reasoning was the mama of these real little babies. She's a police officer and ended up killing one of my twins,
right.
My son. And he thought, this is great payback time. And now you'll have her children and you will make them your own. A little crazy, I know that. And after only a few days, I accepted it. I thought, wow, I fell in love with them from the second I looked at them. And then, of course, all hell breaks loose and,
Yeah, is she thinking this is about, like, when she sees the babies, do you think she's thinking, oh, I have a new start with new babies? Or is she just so out for revenge against Bonnie?
I believe, but this is Linda talking now. This is not Vivian. I believe that she's more inclined to feel the love of these adorable babies, and the thought of having them and helping them and nurturing them and giving them everything that she can is more pronounced than just the revenge. But see, that's Linda Dano talking.
Right.
And that's exactly where I would go. Yeah.
Right. Now, what did you think the first time Yvonne called uh Vivian Madame? Did he call you Madame? Madame?
I have to tell, yes, he did. And I have to tell you, I'm kind of used to being treated like that because I really got a lot, for God's sake.
For God's sake.
Right. I was this bigger than life creature who wore feathers and hats and jewelry. And so that kind of, to defer to me in a way, seemed perfectly normal to me. You probably hear from my closest and dearest friends, like,
Okay, yeah.
comes to mind. And it would say, of course, Stephen, when I did the audition for Another World 1,000 years ago, and I said to him in the middle of taping a couple of
Stephen Schnetzer.
Stephen, yes,
Yeah.
for those that have forgotten. And I said to him, I can't play this part. I don't know how to play this part. And he said, are you kidding me? You are Felicia Gallant. So, and I looked at him so strangely because I don't think of myself like that at all. And yet, after I began playing her, and I went to the writers and I said to them after about 3 months, I said, would you mind if I kind of breathe a little soul into this character? And they went, yeah, sure, Linda, that'll be fine. And they just didn't even care what I was saying. And I did. I breathed soul into Felicia. And 18 years later, that was it. We were done, and with more memories than I can even begin to count.
The hats that Felicia wore and all the angles and the thing, how much of that was you? And how much of it was costume? Like how did you work together to get her look?
I had the most amazing costume designers on Another World. And we sort of did it together because remember now, I was also a fashion person.
That's right.
My field.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I had a business on the side called Strictly Personal. You can ask Robert Woods that because I dressed him. And I dressed a lot of people, and I dressed a lot of people in daytime. So so the costume designers were really asked me to put in my 2 cents, if you will. And we just had more fun with this character. Now I should tell you, in days, I did wear a turban. A turban.
How'd you feel about that?
I don't know. I never looked at myself.
Right. Right. Now, is this true that I heard that you don't watch your work in any of your shows? Do you watch back any of your performances on any shows?
No, never.
So,
I can't. I just think I'm dreadful, and oh my God, I can't. It would be worse for me if I watched myself. It would be the final straw, and I would say I'm never going to do this again. It's just too embarrassing. I'm very tough on myself, so I just don't do it. And everyone kind of accepts that. I'm not the only one.
I know a lot of people that don't.
A lot of people can't watch themselves.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And I have to tell you, let me tell you a funny story. When I was up in Canada with Vivian, and I was doing a film up there, and I got a call from Mary Ellen DePrisco, who is still
my gosh,
a very close friend of mine.
Chris.
And she said, we're going to do a reunion show for Another World, and we would like you to host it. Right. Now remember, I had attitudes too at the time, so I was a talk show host. So it made sense that they would ask me to do that, and I said yes. What an honor! I'd be pleased to do that. And so I went to do it, and before I did, they sent tapes to me, 3 tapes of Felicia and scenes from the show, so I could remember some of the interesting things that happened on the show, so I'd be able to talk about them. Now remember, I have never watched myself, so I'm sitting in this little hotel room, and Vivian's off doing something, and I'm watching myself for the first time on these tapes, and I yelled into Vivian, and she came into the room, and I said, you know what? I get why they like Felicia Gallant. She's fabulous. I couldn't believe I said that. And I did, because I thought, oh my God, she's so bigger than life and fun and tough. And she just had so many qualities. And it was the first time I ever watched myself.
So interesting.
And it was the only time I've ever complimented myself. So
I remember, wait, all the time. So let me just tell, I would come and see you at Fashion Week in New York.
right,
We would do stuff together for that.
right.
We did that.
A lot of stuff together.
Oh my God,
Oh my
QVC.
God, we did it.
I came to QVC with you. We did stuff there.
In reality, you and I and people like us are really lucky people. We had great jobs, really fun, crazy jobs, and got paid for it. What happens in life, and I think this is true for all of us, we have jobs, whatever those jobs are, and we make friends at those jobs, and those friendships continue. Why would they stop just because the job ended?
Right. It's right. And I think that's what really sets them apart, because so many people do a job, do a gig, do a show, they go their separate ways, and they say they'll stay in touch, and they do not.
And we do not.
But there are many people that do. And when you look back, like I just had my 60th birthday, I did a live stream for it, and I had a lot of people on it in LA, and it was like these actors I've known for so long. They all came to hang on this virtual Zoom thing, and it was amazing. You know,
and they meant it, and they loved it, and they loved you. So that is what happens. I was worried about going to days now, because I'm a lot older, and I'm 77, and this year I'll be 78. Oh dear Lord! And
where did the time go?
I'm going to be. Do you think? Do they know I'm 78? I asked the agent. He said, yes. They know you. They know who I will be. And I thought, okay. Why not? And off to LA I went.
And how was your experience at days, like with the cast, the crew? Like how did you feel about, what were they like?
I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, because all my friends who were in the crew at Another World know how I love them. And we all did. We had a great show. Everyone who ever really came to Another World was quite smitten by the fact that it was such a generous, loving place to be. And I felt that when I went to Days, that the company is just, and I'm talking about every guy on the crew and every woman. I'm talking about hair and makeup, and I'm talking about wardrobe, and the generosity. You know, a show is generous when you're standing, you're waiting to go into the studio, and you're standing there, and a man, even a young man or an older man, will walk by and stop and say, you know what a gift to get you here at Days of Our Lives, Linda. You are a treasure. And I would just, thank you. And you know, part of me kind of wants to look around. Are you talking to me? Because I'm just like floored by it. I don't see myself like that. So I'm always a wreck. I'm always thinking I'm going to be a mess, and I won't do it right, and I worry about it, and I'm the opposite of what you see when I played Felicia, and hopefully what I played now with Vivian.
Now, Vivian, you had a new look. You had a look. I loved the hair. I was into the hair and the yeah.
Yeah, it's different. It's getting a little long now, so I'm going to have to go to Christina and have it trimmed up a bit. But it was. I thought, why not? This is, you know, I should give myself a new modern. I looked at myself and I said, you know, maybe it kind of looks French or something. And so I did that, and I put on fake nails so I'd be this glamour creature. And now I'm home with my nails all off again, because I'm a gardener and I dig into the dirt. And I'm home taking care of my dogs, and that's my life now. So
did you get a chance? Did Deidre Hall and you knew?
Oh yeah, Deidre and I are good friends.
Did she talk to you while you were there? Did you
Oh
see
God,
her?
yeah. I even saw her outside the studio for a few hours at her home, and she calls, and I call her. And another thing that happened, I had forgotten this because we had lost touch again. One of my oldest friends, Maria O'Brien, who is the great legend Edmund O'Brien's one of his daughters, and I call her Ria because her family calls her that. And she works there at Days, as you know, and she's worked there for, oh my God, a long time.
Oh, a long time.
I ran into her my first day, and it was like, oh, oh my God. And it was like God sent an angel to keep an eye on me and look at me and help me get through this. And so that was just joyful that I was.
Oh, yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing.
She is so amazing.
She's amazing.
One
So
of the kindest people on the planet. Yep.
So you saw the kind of lines they have at Days. There's a lot of work. They go very fast. You came back into daytime. Were you like, this is going so fast? Like, how did you handle the pace from what you were used to?
It was tough. It was really tough. I must say, I because of the virus and because they're all being so careful and they're going so fast to get as many things on tape as they possibly can. I understand all those reasons, but as an actor, whoa, you're caught completely off guard. The lines were many and difficult, and I don't know these characters. I did not have the opportunity to really rehearse with people because you weren't allowed to go into each other's dressing room and run lines. You never had an early morning rehearsal time like I'm used to. And so when I was on the set, I would arrive, we would run it once, and boy, we'd go to tape just like that. And because it's not familiar, it was daunting for me. For the first, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, it was daunting.
Everybody that comes into the situation at Days or has said the same thing to me. You are not alone. It is a daunting, because I mean, just the shooting schedule.
Yeah.
It's just daunting. And before they were 7 months.
I had the script beforehand. I was reading it again and again on the airplane, in my bedroom. I just kept trying to work on it. And in the script, and the audience doesn't really know this, the character of Yvonne is spelled like Ivan, I-V-A-N, right?
Right.
So of course I thought his name was
Ivan.
And you put that in your head, like anything we do in life. We put it in our head, there it is, it stays there. I go out on the set and they went, Linda, I'm sorry, it's Yvonne. I said, what is? I didn't know what they were saying. It's Yvonne, it's not Ivan. And I stopped and I looked at them and I went, no one could call and tell me that? Oh my God, what am I gonna do? I have this thing programmed in my head that that's his name. That was, I can't tell you how hard that was to try and reprogram my head. Hard.
Now, how was he to work with? Because he probably was like, he's like, yeah. He's like, here's another Vivian.
Here's another Vivian. I guess he's probably used to it by now. I don't know. He spoke to Louise a few times while I was there. So, they're close. And I said to him, she'll be back. She loves this show. She loves this character. She'll be back. I'm sure of it. I mean, I didn't go there with the idea that now I'll try and get this job.
Right. You weren't kind of thinking like, you were just doing your part.
Seeing old friends, having fun, playing a different character with a little taste of Felicia. And go home, back to my house and my dogs. Yeah.
So I remember, going back to Another World, the worst day was that last day.
Oh.
Because I was there with you and we had a crew. I had a crew with me. And I remember having to go, and you were signing the book, the Another World book they had. and everybody, it was so awful.
It was so awful.
It was so awful. I have to tell you, I've been on, it was really the most painful uh of the soap cancellations that I like actually been there for. I mean, I had the other one that was really awful was One Life to Live, because I
Oh,
was there at the last.
I-
That
yeah,
just broke me to pieces. So the two of these shows, the last week or the last day, I was there. It was horrible. And do you remember that
I
last?
do. Unfortunately, I
Because I
do.
remember you on the last day.
I was the last person to leave the building because I just couldn't tear myself away. I went back to every office, every room, just say goodbye. I'm such a crybaby that I don't do these things well.
Yeah.
My heart was so broken. And I thought, I'm never going to feel this way again, no matter where I go or what job I do. And you know what? I'll tell you something. And probably a lot of it is that I stay in touch with so many of my friends from another world. Um, and it's also, it's just my nature to look at the good in everything. And I, I, I've had great experiences after that show, and fun things and great moments and hysteric laughter and weeping uncontrollably. I've run the gamut. But I have to tell you, that's a memory that I'll never ever forget.
You,
It was just too rich and beautiful and fun. Yeah.
I remember you doing a toast to everybody.
Mm,
There was a toast on set after it all had ended.
right,
He had shot the last scene.
right.
And you said, like, let's all drink up and have a toast, and they were all there with you. I remember that so vividly in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And I remember how out of control we all were crying. We were all crying, all of us. We were just, it was like, I don't know, the end of an age, an end of, oh, it was just hard. It was just really hard. It's hard to even talk about it. It's
yeah.
hard to even go back and remember those things because it's so painful. Yeah.
Well, A Wonderful Night was you winning the Daytime Emmy, and I remember it so well, and your speech.
Thank you for this. And to all of you that are sitting out here tonight, all you actors, some of you I've had the great pleasure of working with, some I actually know, and some I don't know at all. But I have watched you. I have wanted to be like you. I've worked hard to be as good as you are. For you to give me this means that I'm in this company. God, thank you for that. I want to thank the Academy. I want to thank NBC. I want to thank Procter & Gamble. Ed Trock, wherever you are, thank you for your generous support all these years. To my family in Brooklyn, I love you dearly. I've spent 11 years there, and there are so many of you to thank. You all know that you can't get this alone. It's such a collaborative effort. To my wonderful directors, to the staff in the production office, hair, makeup, wardrobe, the generous, loving crew, the cameraman, Brian, Michael, Bruce, if you're watching. I want to thank the writers. Donna Sojeski, you started the alcohol storyline, and Peggy Sloan, you made it happen. Thank you for that. I want to thank my actors that are friends and that make me look so good. Stephen Schnetzer, I adore you, you know that. I want to thank Vicki Wyndham, what a great actress. I want to thank Alicia Coppola and Ala Karat, my girls. You share this with me, all of you. I want to especially thank Brent Collins and Douglas Watson and Constance Ford. And lastly, let me say thank you to my parents. Mama, I did it. And to my darling, loving Frank. I could never be standing here without you, darling. Thank you.
It was for Felicia's alcoholism storyline. You finally won the Emmy. And what do you look back on that now and think about that storyline and that time and winning
Oh,
the Emmy?
that storyline was unbelievable, and unbelievable to play, and more importantly, Michael, you have no idea how many letters I received from people who were going through the same thing. I was always, people were so generous and would write to me and tell me how much they liked me and all of that. But this was really personal stuff. This was them telling me their journey and the struggle that they were in. And it just underscored what I had to do. And I took it very seriously. And they wrote me such wonderful material. And who would have ever thought from all that I would then be given an Emmy for it? It was like a big dream thing with a bow on the bottom, and it just the whole thing was something I didn't expect and was handed to me, and I'll never forget it. I will never ever forget it. I still have people on the street will come up to me and say things like, I really watched you when you were drinking, like I was really drinking. And I went, oh my God, I hope it helped. Did it help you? Oh my God, yes. My wife and I talked about it. I mean, really personal. And I don't make fun of that. I think that's like a gift. I was given a gift. The other gift I had, besides Stephen, of course, everyone on the planet loves Stephen Schnetzer, and we are just so close and love each other so much. But the other gift for me was Brent Collins, Wallingford. I adored him. Stephen and I both adored him.
What made him so special?
Fans adored him.
Oh, they loved him.
They loved him. They loved him. Yeah.
Now, Alicia Coppola, you got to work with back then. I mean,
I saw her in California. She came to the hotel to spend time with me, and she's just a beautiful creature and a wonderful actress.
Lorna. When I was 16, I got pregnant. I wasn't married. Oh, so you mean the sainted Felicia actually goofed?
The day that I had my daughter, she was taken from me and given up for adoption. And Luke and I have spent the last 3 years trying to find her.
So Lucas was the father?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. You just dumped your kid.
It is not what either one of us wanted. I never even saw my baby the day she was born.
You're breaking my heart.
But Luke did see her once in the hospital just before she was taken away.
What has that got to do with me?
When he saw our daughter, he wanted to give her something. And the only thing he had that meant anything to him was his lucky dime. It was a dime that he found the day he met me. He wore it around his neck on a chain. He gave it to our baby. Sort of as a blessing, a wish that she would have a good life, always.
Is that the end? Can I get out my violin?
It was a Mercury dime. It was just like yours, the one that you gave to Matt.
That's why you think I'm your kid? Because of some stupid coin?
Why do you call it stupid? You had it your whole life. I know it was a family heirloom.
So what? The U.S. Treasury didn't make just one, Felicia. They must have made thousands of
Luke's
them.
dime was the year 1944.
So
your dime was the same year, and it has a little hole in it where you would wear a chain.
that proves nothing.
My stepfather was a minister.
Oh, so you must have caused quite a scandal.
Yeah, well,
huh?
things were very different in those days, and my pregnancy was kept a secret.
So your secret was well
Until
kept.
he found out. But that's a whole other area I don't wish to get into. I just want to know one thing, Lorna. What did your grandmother do to make money?
Where are you going with
Just
this, Felicia?
tell me. What did she do?
She was a housekeeper.
She cleaned my stepfather's church. Helen D'Angelo knew my stepfather and my aunt. They are the ones that gave away my baby for adoption.
What are you saying,
I am
Felicia?
saying that your grandmother knew my stepfather. She knew about my baby.
Now you hold it right there. Are you accusing my grandmother of stealing your child?
Well, let's talk about Gretel Ray Cummings for a minute, because she bounced to every ABC daytime show, and that is never been done before to this day. And what did you think about the whole, being on One Life in the role, then coming back later? And
I just thought it was great. When it was told to me, I went, "Oh my God, I love this." It never occurred to me that the other shows would not welcome me. It just never occurred to me. I live in my own bubble, and
we all do.
and it was great. Everyone was so generous, so happy to see me. It was a delight. It was a delight. The problem with it is it can't sustain itself. The creation of that idea was from Angela Shapiro, who's a dear friend of mine as well. And after you do it, and you do it for a year and a half, whatever, the writers don't want to have to write you in for a month, and they're busy enough, God knows. And so it kind of fizzled, and I ended up being at One Life for the rest of my run. And then, as you know, Frank got sick, and I wanted to go home. I needed to go home and be with him and take care of him. And that was the end of daytime until Guiding Light, Ellen Wheeler from another world, we all keep in touch, and called me about a part she wanted me to play on Guiding Light. And I said, "Oh, I can't." Frank had just passed, and this was the January. He had died in September. This was January. I said, I don't think I can do that. And she said, "Think about it, and I'll call you when." I was going away on a little trip, and I said, okay, we'll talk about it. And of course, everyone in my family went crazy. "You got to do this. It's going to be so good for you." They wanted me to get out more and do more. And they, instead of sitting home and wondering, why the bottom fell out of my life. And I agreed to it. And I went over to Guiding Light for 18 months. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done, because I knew all the crew. It was Proctor. I come from that world. I knew the guys, the girls, I knew their children, I knew their names. And then I go back into my dressing room and I weep because I missed Frank so much. So when that ended, I said to Ellen before the last scene, I told her I would come to Guiding Light, but I want you to kill me. And I want a gory death. I want blood. I want a lot of blood. I've never died before on a show, so I need that. I want that. So she agreed to it, the crazy that we all are. And I did. And I had a thing in my mouth that I bent down on, and blood came gushing out of me. I loved it.
I had no idea you wanted that.
I wanted that. I asked for it. So I thought, wow, now I finally have done everything there is to do in daytime. Yeah, that was my whole thing about it. Yeah.
The thing is, I remember first seeing you as Ray on One Life to Live, the first time you were on it. That's when I first saw Linda Dano, like way back at the very beginning.
No. What you saw was Gretel.
That's right, Gretel.
Ray came about because they called the house one day, and Frank answered, and it was Angela, and she said, "We want to change Gretel's name to another name. What name do you think she would like?" And he said, "Well, her middle name is Ray, R-A-E. You could call her that." And she's, "Great, that's what we'll call her." That's how that came about.
Now, I remember Gretel, yes, because I was like, "Oh, I love Gretel."
My mother and said, "I've gotten a job on One Life to Live." She said, "Really, what's the character?" And I said, "Gretel." And my mother went, "Gretel? What is that? Are you going to wear wooden shoes? What's that about?" Italian mother. I said, no. It's just a name, Gretel Cummings. "Oh, all right. But that was my mother's take on it. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, there hasn't been another Gretel in daytime, so.
Thank you. Yeah.
So you were glad when they changed it to Ray?
I was. At least if you said Ray, I would turn around, because that's my real name and my middle name. So yeah, I like that it was Ray.
Well, One Life had some of the greatest actors too. I mean, you had Erica Slays. Everybody was there. What was it like being part of that show?
So great. I loved it. But remember,
was Judith Light there when you were there?
Oh, in the beginning,
In the
sure.
beginning, yeah.
When I first went to One Life, after I'd come from California, I had moved there to be with Frank and get married. And so I went on to One Life to Live, and I knew Judith and Erica, of course, Bobby Woods. Oh yeah, I knew everybody. And then when I came back after my 18 years on Another World, it was like another home for me.
I'm moving on to a whole new place. And you know what? I want you to come with me. I think it's time that we meet some new people. And you never know, we could actually run into a lot of old friends. So come on.
Linda Dano joins One Life to Live, beginning Monday, June 28th on ABC Daytime.
I knew so many of them. They were still there, and we had a lot of laughs. And these are all the people that I still see. Bobby, he's just moved to South Carolina, and he and his wife. It's, you know, and Erica and I have lunch. We have lunch together, and we threw a little party for Erica last year for her birthday, a surprise party. And no, it's just, I have to tell you, work on a show for all these years, and you get to know some amazing people, and it's memories that, you know, are just unforgettable.
What are you doing in the corridor, sister?
I did go in there. I did. This is not Vicky in here.
Of course it is. Her name is on the door. What's a bore?
No, that's Will and it's Christian and Jen, Jessica. What is going on here? Are all you people crazy?
Are you blind? Can't you read the sign? Are you sure you're a psychologist?
Yes, but this is just too weird. I can't make heads or tail of any of it.
You did As the World Turns too, right?
I did.
You were Cynthia.
And I was hired and to play, oh my God, what was his name? The nicest man, except he had a real problem with the storyline because I was a younger woman, and it was to break up he and his wife's marriage, which had been going on for 30 years on the show. And he didn't like that, and he kind of didn't want to play it, and so didn't. And so that didn't work so well. And I was there for a year, and I was fired. And I remember my father saying, "We won't tell anyone around here that knows us that you got fired, okay?" And I remember saying to my dad, "What are you at? You're embarrassed for me? Oh, Daddy, don't. That's not right. I'll get another job." I was horrified. I was absolutely horrified.
Oh my gosh.
So I got fired. And that's when I went to Robin Strasser's home for a dinner party. And I met a man by the name of Jeff Ryder, another personal friend forever. And he was head of NBC on the East Coast. And he said, "You know, I have a part coming up that I think you'd really be right for." But you see, I was done with daytime. I had Gretel. And then I went over and got fired at World Turns, and I thought I was selling clothes and doing very well, I might add, and said, "No, I don't think so. I don't think I want to do that." And so Frank then jumped in and said, "Why don't you just look at the script and see what you think?"
See,
There's that Frank again.
Frank again.
Yeah, there's that Frank. And it was Felicia, and it was a different part. Wow. Powerful part, you know, bigger than life part. So I read for it. And that was when I said to Stephen, "I don't know, I can't do this part." And that's when he said, "What, are you crazy? You are this part." So that was the beginning of those 18 years. Yeah.
You think Steven's going to watch you as Vivian?
Of course.
Is he?
Of course. Of course he will. He will. And he'll be very generous. He always is. So we go to each other's things all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Do you still want to, is there some things you still want to do that you haven't had a chance to do in your career? Or do you want to do, are you still?
I must say, every time I go and do a part, since I retired, you know, after Frankie passed away, I have the best time. I get caught up in it. It all comes flooding back, how fun it is. and how unscary it really is. You know, you got to give me a few days, and then I relax into it. So then I think, God, maybe I want to go back to work. But no, I'm happy. I'm good. I love being home with my dogs and my house and my gardens, and I really love it. And I don't know. I think about things once in a while to do, or, well, that's why when Days called, and I was just at that point of that same, you know, should I, shouldn't I, what should I do? I've turned things down over the last few years because they were too hard to get to, or I couldn't do it, or it was, I had no one to take care of the dogs, and I just didn't want to leave them just anywhere. And, you know, so those things happen, and I'm okay about that too. So we'll see. You never know. Somebody could call me and I would go, maybe I could do that. But I don't know.
Because you did, when we last chatted on my podcast, you had done the Hallmark movie with Allison Sweeney.
I did it with Allison.
Yeah.
And in fact, she just sent me a text saying, you know, with hearts, Allison Sweeney hearts because of Days. I didn't see her at the show.
Right. She wasn't there when you
She wasn't there. So yes, that was great fun. I had a great time doing that. So yeah, I guess so. It depends on who calls and.
But isn't there a nice feeling of kind of feeling like where you're, I think the place you're at right now, like there's something to be said about a body of work, and you've done this life and you've done this stuff and you're good with it. And now you're like, if you know, there is something to be said about that.
If I never worked again from this moment on, I'll be okay. That'd be fine. I'm fine. I'm really fine. And I have a wonderful life with a ton of friends and things and interests and things I love. And I'm an antique collector, and I paint. I'm just a maniac.
Now, when you're watching fashion on some of the women in Hollywood, like, are you like, oh, why are you wearing that? Like,
oh God, yeah.
So do you have people that you think dress very well? Like, who's some of the celebrities that you think are like, oh, I like how she dresses?
Oh yeah, I do. I'm trying to think.
What do you think of J-Lo, what she wears?
Oh, I hate it. I couldn't hate it more. I'm sorry, J-Lo. I'm really,
J-Lo.
but you know, I'm sorry.
I know.
It's too. It screams of wanting attention. It just screams of it.
And then what about like Michelle Obama? Kind of what she.
I don't really follow what she wears, or I heard that she was. I didn't watch the inauguration. I don't know what she had on, but I heard that they all looked really pretty and looked well, and so I'm assuming I always assume that someone's going to be magnificent, and Jackie Onassis Kennedy is going to come back, and there's going to be
that hasn't happened, but
you know, and of course I'm always disappointed. But yeah, fashion is what I don't like is watching people talk about fashion and have it. I think there's more to fashion than just fashion. I think fashion expresses something in each of us. And sometimes when they choose people that their dresses are just, what? You know, when they first come out and you go, what is that? And then they carry on about how, oh, it's so brave. It's so, no, it's not. No, it's not.
I can't stand some of the award show coverage now on E with these people talking about fashion. I'm like, where do they know? What do they?
I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah. I'm sorry. Remember, I'm an old bat. I'm 7.
Hardly.
I have earned the right to be a critic about this.
No, but you're saying, but nobody has better style than you. Like, you're the person I would still go to.
Thank you.
I would still. I mean, who else would you go to? Like, you had the quintessential style.
Well, they would never have me on one of those shows because I would be too bloody honest, and they'd fire me. I'd be fired the first week. You know that, and I know that. So come on, that's it. Right.
Oh my gosh.
It's not happening. I know you want me to get that job, but
I do.
I'm not.
We're taking you from Connecticut to there to do that job. That's what we're gonna do. I just hope everybody watches Linda on Days of Our Lives. Check out her
And be
performance.
kind to me.
She's
Please.
great. She's great.
I
But it'll
wish I felt that way, but I don't.
it'll be so wonderful to see you, and I know everybody's looking forward to it. Linda, my
Yes.
gosh,
So
so great to see you and to talk to you.
let's make this more frequent then.
Absolutely.
Be the old lady has been that you talk to for 10 minutes and I
Getting to be
how it is to be really old. Okay.
okay. Sure.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye,
Thank you.
Linda. Thank you. Bye.